And now from our sponsors.
Hi, this is Gail Rubenstein, the founder and CEO of Retail Resilient. Car dealers all over the country love working with us, and let me tell you why. We have two product solutions that they absolutely love using. The first product solution is a Facebook and Instagram school where we build out a curriculum for salespeople and managers. We teach them how to create new car offers, used car offers, and get pre-approved offers. We also have a campaign management program where we generate leads for them, and then they do what they do best, they sell cars. So we train their sales staff on how to handle social media leads. Our car dealers typically say to us, I had the highest grossing month in the history of my business. I'm up double in my volume year over year. We even had a client the other day that told me that he was absolutely blessed because he loved our customer service. Everyone at Retail Resilient works remotely from home. I hire only car people from all over the country, so I hire all A players. They're really good at what they do, and we absolutely love helping car dealers. So give us a try, give us a shout. Any opportunity, we would love to see if we're a fit to work with you.
Hi, this is Barry Jordan from whitegloveperformancegroup.com. I'd like to take a few moments of your time to share how we can make you more profitable. Dealerships all over North America are using our cloud-based power dialing platform, Touchpoint, to manage their outbound sales-generating phone calls. With Touchpoint, your agents can make up to 50 calls an hour. Leave a voicemail, send an email with a link to a video or to your website, all with a click of the mouse. We specialize in empowering your teams to make the calls that make the sales. How can Touchpoint help you increase profit? Check us out, whitegloveperformancegroup.com.
Hi everyone, I'm John Latka from Automotive Business Solutions, where we help dealerships build more productive and proactive by-appointment sales cultures through our Performance Management Partnership Program. So, if you want to increase your sales volume by 2 to 3 sales per month per salesperson, call our toll-free number, 877-708-8484 for a free consultation.
Thanks, John. Thanks, everyone else, too. Thanks to all the sponsors, Barry and Gail. A couple books, Car Science, Car Collecting, and Cool Cars. Go ahead, Jeff.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Those of you who watch us know that we cover with our butts with our disclaimers. The views and viewpoints of our guests are those of them and not necessarily those of us, although we sometimes, most of the time, agree with them. So thank you for joining us.
And now it's time for the Summer Classic Show. Take it away, Jeff.
Thank you. Welcome to the Summer Classic Show. We have a really great group of people joining us today, and I see all their smiling voices. Hi there, Hillary, who's just come up on the screen. We'll introduce her. She's the owner-operator of Ink and Iron Auto, the all-female auto body in Oakville, Ontario. In other words, just west of the center of the universe. And Hillary, to introduce and tell us about herself and her business. Take a moment, please go ahead.
So my name is Hillary. I own a business, like you mentioned, in Oakville called Ink and Iron. It is an all-female business, and we specialize in restoration and custom work.
Wow. Perfect. We actually asked the question before you joined us, Kathy did, about if you just worked on classics or everything. So it's great that you don't work on that boring stuff. So thank you for joining us. Next, we have David Senator, the Executive Director of the New York City Auto Museum in Toronto, Ontario, temporarily before he goes back to New York and the government lets him in, one of the governments. David, tell us about your deep connection to the classic car world.
Well, in 2016, we decided to develop a program to engage the state of New York and the city of Manhattan to create a landmark cultural institution that is a purveyor of history and culture and the future of mobility.
Wow, cool.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Again, we appreciate you joining us, a new person to the Auto Hub show. Next, we have actually a repeat guest, Kathy Droz. I hope I got that right, Kathy.
It's good.
Who's an automotive author, speaker, and automotive expert in a very cold place, Phoenix, Arizona. And she also gets the pleasure of reviewing tons of cars, 600 to date, I think she said. Kathy, tell us a bit more about yourself, and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you. I've turned out to be an advocate for the female buyer when they go into an auto dealership, and I'm also an advocate for dealers so that they know how to, how to have all of these women purchase vehicles from them. Since women do influence and purchase more, I train the sales staff and managers on how to increase sales from women. And then my book teaches women how to negotiate and how to purchase a vehicle and a win-win situation. So my goal is to improve the automotive industry on the dealer level for sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, I got to tell you from personal experience, I've always lost in negotiations with women, so I don't think you need to teach them anything more.
Okay, good.
Next, we have Jean Charpentier with a lovely Quebecois last name from Seattle, who's the director of marketing and social media from a very cool place, the Cadillac V Club in Seattle. Again, John, please fill us in yourself, and thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you, and good morning, all. As you've heard, my name is John Charpentier. I'm located here in the Seattle, Washington area, Pacific Northwest. The Cadillac V Club is something that's been around since 2013, and we're very excited. This month, actually, we're starting to build these brand new Cadillac V Series Blackwing models, which come standard with a 6-speed manual. So I'm looking forward to talking to you more about Cadillac Blackwings, but I'm happy to be here and look forward to sharing more information about the Cadillac V Club.
Thank you very much. You know, I have to tell you something. I fully expect Batman to be driving a Blackwing. That's just the one that sticks into my mind. Next, we have Marco Mantenuto joining us from Toronto. He's a member of the R Club and also a sales guru with Mercedes-Benz in Toronto. Marco, thanks for joining us again, and please say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marco. I work out of Toronto, and I am what you would call an autoholic. So I love cars inside out. I collect them, and my girlfriend is just as addicted as I am. She's a professional co-driver for rallies. So we get to travel the world and do some pretty cool things sometimes. So.
Very, very cool. I see your post and got some pretty cool, funky little cars there, or bigger ones too. And last but not least, joining us from some unnamed little town in Illinois, but from Los Angeles, California, is Stephen Newbell. Hopefully I've got that right, Stephen, who's the co-founder and COO of Roadster. Stephen, take a moment, introduce yourself. And by the way, I'm glad you made it. You made it because you weren't going to make it. So thank you.
Yep. No, thanks very much for having me. So I'm the co-founder of Roadster. We're building a platform for the car community, basically a modern social networking platform to bring the community into the modern age. You know, a lot of the community is still stuck, I think, on these old website forums and web pages showing different events, or you go to your group, your club website. And we're trying to bring the whole ecosystem onto a mobile-first modern platform with the goal of helping enthusiasts connect and to meet in real life. So you can post events on there, get groups together, chat, post content, and soon in a new version we have coming out, we'll have a navigation feature inside the app as well. So basically all the car community in your pocket.
Very cool. Thank you. Well, I have to say this show is going to be a little different than our normal shows because we normally, Ian and I ask questions, and we're just going to ask a question to start it with all these great people. It's going to roll. So Ian, take it away, please.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the show topic is, thanks, Jeff, is summer classic cars. I guess the big question, I guess, being a little bit different summer this year than normal, is how do you think that impacts summer cars and classics? And let's start with Hillary, since she works on a lot of classic cars. Maybe she has some thoughts there.
Yeah, if I found in what we do is we've been a lot busier since the pandemic started. So I find like a lot of people now have that time, like they're stuck at home and they have time to build their classic. So I think like for next year, definitely, I feel like we're going to see a lot more on the road because people are now, you know, getting it done or wrapping up projects that they started quite a while ago. And I know like a lot of our customers are really eager to get out there and show their cars. And I'm just kind of starting to see like events popping up now. So hopefully like end of summer, early fall, there'll be some meets.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. Marco, what do you think? You're muted, man.
That was nothing good. You don't want to hear what I said. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's driven the price of classic cars up quite a bit in the last year and a half because exactly what Hillary said. Everybody wants to get out and hit the road, and it's made for an interesting landscape of what projects are going for versus what they used to go for versus what complete cars are going for as well. And I think it's a trend that will hopefully keep going, not just because the value of the cars is going up, but because it gets more people involved in the car community. It really is a great community. So yeah.
Fantastic. David.
Yes, sir.
What do you think on the classic car side? I know you're rolling out the museum side, but I mean, obviously I'm assuming you're buying cars for this museum. So what do you think? Is there still a lot of passion in the classic car hobby, especially this summer?
No doubt. You know, while we are working with the car manufacturers' historical archives, instead of actually purchasing vehicles, which allow for a cyclical rotation and new exhibits to occur with a bunch of ease. You know, the problem with a museum that dwells on the automotive community is that you got a bunch of very specific car owners, one versus a corporation which takes a more kind of agnostic approach to putting cars on loan. You know, we have definitely seen an, an increase in automotive activity within the classic car space, whether it is through meetups, online or off. You know, the atmosphere is conducive where people are laid off, they're not available. There's the working, you know, you're stuck at home, so the ability to get out is far more precious, and it's just all around a better environment for the automotive, for the classic automotive scene.
Thanks very much. Kathy, in Arizona?
Well, we are the home of Barrett Jackson, Russo Steel. So classic cars are constant here, as well as we have such excellent weather year round, I would say. I think believe it or not, because of the shortage in the new car industry, with we're having issues there, and everybody's buying used cars. I'm finding that the pent up money that many people had, they're now looking to buy a classic car rather than go for the brand new or even a used, 5-year-old Lexus. So it's hopping here. Plus, everyone wants to get out into events. So they're back in action. Plus, there's a Muffy and Gary Bennett that live here. They do private. Oh, you're shaking your head, Jeff. So you know of Muffy and Gary. He was the former vice president of Russo and Steel. Then they went with the Leak classic cars, and now they're just buying. Muffy just bought a vehicle for Garth Brooks that he presented to Laura Bush for her birthday. So there's a lot of this private selling, certainly in this area of Arizona.
Interesting.
Well,
Steve?
That's what I see.
Is that Barrett Jackson is just for the people that want their pictures on TV.
Well, certainly Mr. Craig does, but I'm not sure about everyone else. Yeah, it's definitely a big party, but there's a lot of, Jay Leno comes into town, many celebrities come in and they enjoy the bidding.
Yeah.
So I'll speak a little more to the summer car side of things. In LA, it's summer all the time, so I don't know what you guys are dealing with your seasons everywhere else. But after COVID hit, things got back to kind of normal in LA in terms of the car scene. It was a little bit of a paradise because there was no traffic on the roads. So all the car enthusiasts were out doing drives and meetups. A lot of the official shows had closed off for a while, and many of those have now finally started to come back. There was a great one in Huntington Beach called Supercars by the Sea that was closed because it was on state property until just the last couple months. So I've seen a lot of that activity get back going in Los Angeles area. In terms of our other footprint, there's been a general return to it in the U.S., especially on the East Coast. I think it was a little more impacted than, let's say, on the West Coast. And the other place that I think really had a lot of pent-up energy was the UK. We have quite a large footprint there, and they were really locked down, and they got released. They got to go have fun again in June, and there's just been a lot of meetups and drives and activity happening over there since then. So everybody's going out to Caffeine and Machine. I'm sure some of you have heard of that place. It's a really great park community meetup spot in the middle of the UK. So yeah, everybody's out. They want to. I think it's made everybody realize, life can be short. Let's enjoy what we have and get together, and we're seeing that with activity on the app.
And last but not least, John, what do you think on the Cadillac side?
Well, again, for not knowing how knowledgeable you guys are all on the Cadillac V Series, they started back in 2004, so that's how they've been around for a few years, but not, obviously not as long as some of the other old classics. But for us, we're seeing a lot of activity in terms. Last year, a lot of our members were working on getting their cars up to speed. They were working from home, figured they might as well take advantage of that. So in our area, in the Pacific Northwest, the value of our cars have done very well. If I can use an example, a 2011 to 2014 Cadillac CTSV Sport Wagon. I mean, one on the weekend sold for $90,000, and brand new that was only $60,000. So and again, that's a 6-speed manual. I should add that. The rarest Cadillac CTSV wagon is, of course, it needs to be a 6-speed manual, and that's because they're so rare. And so, as I mentioned, we're looking forward to some other new, I guess, classics to be born here this year with these new black wings, which are coming out, which are going to be 6-speed manual as well as standard. So we're seeing definitely and again, I think Kathy mentioned, because of the shortage of cars on dealers' lots, our Vs have actually gone up in value, especially the V3, the current version of the Cadillac V Series has risen. So that's kind of where things are going in the Cadillac V Club.
Jeff?
Well, I have to agree with you. People aren't buying new cars. Up here in Vancouver, we have a very large exotic car, I don't want to say community, because we have a high percentage of very high net worth individuals that are buying Maseratis and Lambos and everything that going out of style. And there's one neighborhood, you'll see them on a weekend. And I was walking through there, and there was a fellow with a 1972 Ferrari Daytona. And I have to tell you something, that was stunning. And the fact that he took it out, I was amazed at, because that's something you don't want to put on the street. So another question for you, and actually one of you touched on it, and I think that was John, is if you could have any classic fun car with a value of under 25,000 US, so 75,000 Canadian, what would it be and why? And we're going to stick to we're going to go back to Steve there, just because he's the first person I'm looking at that's American.
I mean, I've always been interested in an old, getting an old Corvette as kind of a project car. But I don't even know what's under 25,000 anymore in terms of a lot of, just because the values have gone so crazy. I was talking with a family friend of mine, has a beautiful 60, I think it's a 69 Firebird. That's always been of interest as well. And I think he said that Haggerty was recently valuing that around 23,000. So I'm always working on him to say, hey, when you're ready to get rid of that, pass it over to me. I'll take care of it. So I guess that's first on my list.
Terrific. Thank you. Kathy?
Well, since classic cars, I understand, are very emotional, I would probably look for a 68 Mustang. That was my first purchase as a driver. I would probably look for a 67, 68 Mustang, and then I would have to hire Hillary to probably fix it up because I don't know if it would be under 25,000.
Yeah, the fix-up would probably be $25,000. Next, David.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good. What do you think a great classic under 25,000 would be today?
The VW Bug.
There you go. That would be terrific. There's lots of them.
Sure, and the parts are available, and you can customize it, and it's it's not heavy on the pocketbook in terms of the fuel. It's a very competent vehicle to operate, and it's just a very utilitarian, fun, available car.
And turns heads everywhere. Thank you. Hillary, I don't know if there's anything that comes out of your shop under 25,000 because I hear you do such great work. What do you think?
I mean, when they roll in, they're probably under 25.
That's true.
So on that note, if I had 25, I think I'm buying a project, and it would be for sure a second-gen Trans Am 1970. That's always been my dream car. I remember seeing one when I was younger, shopping for my first car, and begging my dad, like, "Hey, can I get this car?" And him being like, "No, that's not practical." And him, my parents told me no, so we kind of have this like running joke. So one day I'll find one and restore it.
Well, there's a TV show on Netflix called Rust Valley Restorers.
Yeah.
And he's out in Merritt, BC, which actually, even though they get some winter, it's pretty dry there. And when you watch that, you think for $7,000, you can take a junker and make it nice and roll it out the door, So, John, how about your opinion? And I know it'll be a Cadillac, but.
Yes, I guess I'd have to go with it. Again, I'm going to give a range: a 2010 to a 2014 Cadillac CTS-V. Talk about a daily driver, a summer car, a winter car. It can do it all. It has 556 horsepower, so it's got some performance. It's got some nice interior. It's a practical car. I would try and find a low mileage 2010, 2014 CTS-V, and that's what I'd recommend. That's what I'd want to go. And actually, my first CTS-V was a 2010, so I think that would be a good car to have as a all-around car. Fun
Perfect.
car.
And I know Marco's going to say, what about a 1968 Bug-Eye Sprite or something? Marco, what did you just pick up?
Oh, geez, the Sprite is gone. That was in 1960. I just got rid of my 66 Mustang. My favorite car, the one that I'm having a hard time part with is a recent classic. It's my 2000 Honda S2000 supercharged. So that car's got about 500 horsepower, and it's a monster. and it's got air conditioning, so that's always a bonus in a classic car. So
there's no way that car is $25,000.
It was not anymore. Definitely not anymore. It's a lot more now.
Supercharged too. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, but if I had to, if we're talking about a cheaper car, the one that put the biggest smile on my face was my 1981 RX-7.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
that was a blast.
You see the video, Jeff? There's a guy that had old Datsun 240 put a V8 in it. It's on the Jay Leno thing. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
He didn't do it all that well, but it was definitely interesting. So what new cars do you think will become classic? Obviously, there's been a lot of controversy over Elon Musk's Cybertruck, which I think the Automotive Journal said it's a car that you may like or dislike, but you can't forget. But what new cars do you think are really going to become classic? Let's start with Hillary this time.
You know what? I've definitely seen a huge increase in trucks. Like, I can remember when I opened my shop about 7 years ago, like, no one was doing trucks. Now it's like, we just can't get away from them, right? It's like one right after the other. And I'm definitely like seeing an upswing in the C10s, probably like the 84, 85, kind of like the square body trucks. Like, we've done a couple of those, and I've seen their value go up, and those seem to be really, really hot, but definitely trucks.
Well, there's a car museum in Calgary, if you're ever in Calgary, and the collector who donated most of the collection, he started restoring trucks because he figured out it was cheaper to do that than cars. So most of the cars in the collection probably because it's in Alberta, but they're trucks, and it's kind of interesting. Kathy?
Well, I'm not a connoisseur like all of you, but I'm thinking that the 2021 Mustang, the electric, that might at some point be a collector's car. Not my favorite, only because the infrastructure here, when I test drove it, Arizona's infrastructure is terrible. So, getting 300 miles, Steve, you would know probably more about this, was difficult. But I think that it is a vehicle that will make that be that classic car people will want, I don't know, how many years from now.
Well, have you seen the Cobra electrics they're converting now? Pretty interesting in the UK. 130,000 British pounds. Ish.
Okay.
Anyway, Marco, go ahead.
Anything with a big old V8, because those guys are going to be extinct soon, unfortunately. So anything with a big old V8, I think, is going to demand some decent coin. The four cylinders are great. You can get 400 horsepower of factory four cylinder from our lineup at Mercedes, but it just doesn't have that rumble. You know what I mean? It's just and anybody who's in tune with their cars is gonna want usually something like a full connection, like the V8 gives you. And yeah, that's why the Cadillacs, the Blackwing that's about to be released, that's going to be, I think, sought after. And our C63s are eventually going to disappear. Anything from our 63 lineup is eventually going to disappear. And yeah, I think those are demanding good prices, much like the V12s and V10s. They're starting to demand some crazy prices. So
interesting. Steve?
So this is kind of cheating, but I really think I have a 2016 Porsche Boxster Spider, and it's a very limited run car. It's there's only about 900 of those in North America. It's naturally aspirated. They're all manuals, and it's just such a enthusiast car. I didn't know a lot about it actually when I got it, but it has just exceeded my expectations on all levels. And I think it's just such a well balanced and it's the convertible experience. It's everything you want in a car to have fun and to drive and perform. And so I'm really looking forward. I'm trying to treat it. It's hard to not drive it too much. I just did a road trip out from LA to here, so I put too many miles on it. But I really think that's going to be, a great long-term vehicle to own. And just anything from Ferrari that is naturally aspirated. The last of the line, those are going to be the things that retain and become classics and the things that everybody wants. So
the big question is, though, did you do Route 66?
I did not. I didn't have that much time, but I was mainly bombing around on I-80. So I think I made it through Nebraska in record time. Let's put it that way.
Steve, is that the Porsche Boxster with the manual roof?
Yes, it's the one with the ridiculous buttons that you got to press to, put it down and everything. Yep. So I can do it in under 15 seconds if I'm running around the car.
Wow, because the onboarding at a Porsche dealership when I started at Porsche was to take the roof down on a Spider. It's like, if you can figure this out, you're done. You're good.
That's the interview process, right? Yep.
John?
Well, I want to thank Marco for helping me out there, but I strongly believe that the 2022 Cadillac CT5V Blackwing, supercharged V8, 6.2 liter V8 with 668 horsepower, 6-speed manual standard, optional 10-speed automatic. That's going to be hard to not include on that list. I think that's going to be a collector for absolutely. So that's the one everyone's waiting to get their deliveries of these cars. They started building them. They started building them this month, so you'll be seeing a lot more of them here in the next few weeks. So we're pretty pumped about that vehicle, obviously. And again, we want to take away from our C4V Blackwing. It has a twin turbo V6 with 472 horsepower. So And the big story about that car at VIR, it beat a BMW M5 competition at the track with a faster time. So when a twin turbo V6 can beat a monster BMW M5 competition that's on the track, that's pretty impressive for a twin turbo V6 there. So those two cars are going to definitely be pretty hot here this coming this
And
year.
it's not $150,000 either.
Exactly. The CT4V fully loaded, I think, is under 85,000. So fully starts at 60 something thousand, 85 fully loaded, and of course a CT5V Blackwing fully loaded, I think, is around 125. And that now comes available with the carbon ceramic brakes as well. As I mentioned, the 6-speed manual carbon ceramic brakes. The first time Cadillac has that as an option on a Cadillac. So we're pretty pumped about these two cars coming out here this month.
You know, it's funny, a performance driver loves to hear things like carbon fiber brakes, and until the owner goes to change the brakes.
Yes, yes. Yes.
David, thoughts?
Well, gentlemen, it. Oops, wrong. There you go. I gotta get up to par. You know, there is no way of predicting the future. So, you know, if you're looking for classics that are going to enhance value, there is. I like to go with celebratory vehicles. So, 25th anniversary of the Camaro, or the certain, you know, or certain Mustangs that were made in limited edition, and you can find those, like the 2004 was, you know, the 50-year Mustang, and there are a number of vehicles that fall within the ability to increase in value, and you know, I mean, within the range of, you know, like, you know, the Trans Am collector series, and you know, there are vehicles that are made in limited production that are available to be used to seek increase in value.
Thank you very much. Jeff?
Well, you know, I have to say that let me ask you this, something that has changed a lot is about 10 years ago, special edition models were special edition. M series BMWs, AMG, Mercedes, you would get Mustangs, you'd get Camaros, that sort of stuff that were special. These days, they got to be really something wild. The one that comes to my mind, and Hillary mentioned trucks, is the Dodge Ram TRX. And see that, you know, you don't see them around very often. And I know in the retail business, these things are about in Canada they're about 135,000 MSRP, and they're going on the wholesale sites for 200. What is your thought on the fact that it used to be things like the special edition models were special and were almost automatic classics? Do you think those days are gone, and now we just have to go at general things, of course, other than the Blackwing, John? And I'll throw you out that question, John.
Well, in the Cat V series in 2018, we had a championship edition which is, you know, very very rare. And so there's one that I can throw for us, the Cadillac. That version certainly has kept its value in terms of a rare special edition Cadillac. But you know, for us, Cadillac doesn't, in the V series. There haven't been that many. You know, that was because they'd won the IMSA racing. It had won the championships. They felt it made sense to have a special edition. So that one, I know for us, is definitely one that's rare, and it has gotten increased in value.
Okay. What do you think outside of the Cadillac world?
Well, you know, I think I've seen some Corvettes that have done well. I'm also, you know, I've owned several Corvettes, which I think you know, Jeff, and so I'd have to say there's some special edition ones there that I certainly think have done well in holding their value. So and you know, my first car, I wasn't able to actually take delivery of it. The first car I actually tried to buy or ordered was a '77 special edition Trans Am, and that, you know, obviously I think you know the story on that car. Obviously, being in the movies and Smoking the Bandit obviously helped that. So, but you know, my first car was a Camaro Z28. So, you know, a clean, good condition Camaro Z28. I'm sure they've had some nice special editions there that I think hold their value as well. So, obviously my focus has been more on GM cars. I've been primarily a GM, from my first Camaro Z28 to my several Corvettes I've owned, and then I've now had 2 Cadillacs. So I seem to really I've gotten good value of the cars I've owned. They've held their value. So when I traded up or sold them, I've done very well. So I'm definitely feel good about the GM vehicles I've had, and that's why I'm such a big positive enthusiast for General Motors cars, especially Cadillacs V Series right now.
Okay, now that's good point. Marco, seeing as how I mentioned AMG, every second car I look at on the road now is an AMG. What do you think's happening there?
I think that if you buy a brand new car and you keep it in its original wrapping and put it on auction 30 years from now, you're gonna get crazy money, because that's the trend that we've been seeing. You get like, I've sold my '84 Prelude with 45,000 original kilometers on it on Bring a Trailer for well over 11,000 Canadian, and that was just a Prelude, not an SI, nothing special. So if you keep something under a tarp long enough, it'll eventually be worth something. But if I had to focus non-special car production cars that are going to be worth something one day, they've already started climbing. It's the GT350s. So those are special cars. In regards to the truck, I know you brought up the Dodge. I have a love-hate relationship with Dodge, because they seem to go up in value and then all of a sudden they just dump. And the reason why I have a love-hate relationship is because one of my favorite trucks ever is the SRT10 that they produced a while back with the massive gear shifter and the Viper V10 in it. And those don't seem to have gone up in price as much as other things on the market. So it bugs me, even though I've never owned one, I probably never will. It bothers me that they haven't gone up in value.
Yeah, well, when you got 600 pounds of torque going to the back end of a short little pickup truck, that's a bit of a beast. So Kathy, same thing for you, but I have a question for you. Just before we talk about all the disappearance of the special editions and where they're going to go, are we looking at in 20 years that the comment in Arizona is going to be a shortage of gas stations?
I don't think so. There is so much and again, my generation is so excuse me, I shouldn't speak for all my generation, but so many of my folks that I know are fighting to keep their gas powered vehicles. I mean, they're not so quick to go to electric. They had enough problems going to hybrids. Now it's just a matter of, I don't see it. If there's any indication of my trip with that all electric Mustang, we've got a long way to go. I think the gas stations are going to be around for a while in Arizona anyway.
Well, I have to say one thing that's very funny, and I don't want to touch on this specifically because we don't want to open up a whole back can of worms here. But we find in more liberal areas, like in BC, it's a moderately liberal area, and Washington State, there's a much more greater acceptance of electric cars than in more conservative areas. Because in Alberta, they want to burn Teslas. But your opinion on that, Steve, on the whole topics?
So definitely, that's always kind of coming up. My personal opinion is, and just sort of how I do see the enthusiast community starting to embrace more about electric, about hybrids, and I think that that's going to continue. I think we have this hump to get over with it, and I see that, even within my own family and everything. I'm from a small town, so I know what you guys are talking about. And as, for example, the Tesla community, they are in LA. They're very much part of the enthusiast community. They're modding their Teslas. They're tricking them out. They're going on drives. They're doing rallies. And that's bringing, positive attention to it, and say, hey, maybe we can continue that passion in the electric way. So there's definitely going to be that transition period. Who knows how long it's going to be? Who knows how long it will be allowed? I do sort of, see a future where maybe those gas vehicles are going to be something that you're driving more on just on the weekends, more at the track, or on side roads or things like that. But who knows? I'd love to see a world where they can live together. But yeah, I think we'll see where that ends up. It's not looking so positive that way.
Oh, I got to tell you. So you mean, and I'm not opening this, people. Don't be upset. I want to be politically incorrect here. But so you're talking about Republicans and Democrats getting along here? Moving right
Yeah,
along, Hillary. So judging on Marco's
what,
comment here, you're not going to be redoing any Viper V10 trucks soon.
Yeah, it doesn't seem so.
So what do you think just with these special editions? Because somebody made a comment, the fact that, well, Marco did, any just normal car, you keep it really like new, it's going to be worth something. Is that what you're seeing too? Just normal stuff is becoming collectible?
Yeah, absolutely. And I still think the special editions have their value. For example, we had two 67 Camaros we restored. One was just an RS. The other one was an actual 67 pace car. So when people come in and they see two cars together, they're asking questions about it. The one that when you tell them, no, this is an original car, that kind of still makes people go like, wow, that's really cool. Like there's still that history and that like the cool factor that, hey, this did run around the Indy, right? So I think that like they still have that value, like that wow factor. I do also see. I'll give you an example. We restored. It was an early '90s a Honda CRX, and let me tell you, that was sitting in the middle of our shop beside a beautiful Bentley we just repainted. And I can't even tell you the number of people that would come into the shop and lose their mind over the CRX because it's something you don't see. So people really, I think, are drawn to like the obscure things that you don't see. Like you see a lot of Mustangs and Camaros, right, rolling around, but it's like those odd cars too, I think will really hold their value.
Well, is it because too that maybe the CRX is something attainable for somebody normal versus a Bentley?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people were like, oh, I learned to drive a manual on a CRX, or my sister had a CRX. There's still like that sentimental attachment to them as well. And like, wow, I don't remember the last time I saw one of these.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, a lot of the classics, the thing that turns me off to them is not the buying of them; it's the maintaining them and getting them serviced. When the technician you take them to has cleaner fingernails than you do, you know you got a problem. Well, not people who work with their hands like me. Ian, any other comments?
Well, it's funny. One of the first used cars I ever sold when I sold cars was a CRX, and the gentleman who bought it, he might have been 18 with his dad. It was kind of funny because it was like one of these older used cars we had, and it had the red paint, but the paint at the time kind of oxidized over time. And we had a great detail guy, so he brought the paint back. My manager was all upset. He's like, well, but he's going to come back when it fades. I'm like, dude, he's buying a 1988 CRX. Like, really? Like, that's the argument you're picking? Like, he loves the car. It's all good. It was really, really funny. But the funniest experience I ever had was a Honda Del Sol. We had a customer who wanted to sell us the car, and he was so infatuated with the car, he wanted more than he paid for it, which may not be crazy today, but back in the day, we were like, really, man? So it was kind of interesting. So yeah, some of these older cars, I think, are interesting, but more importantly, as Hillary said, you get the oddball ones. I mean, I drove a Honda Insight first generation for a while, and I put stickers on it when I sold cars, and I got calls when I was at the dealership like, you guys have a fleet of these. I'm like, no, there's just the one car, guys. I see it all over town. Yeah, there's only one. But those kind of cars get interest because they're oddball, right? What do you think, David?
Well, it's a unique conversation, no doubt. We are entering into a time where the valuation metrics is completely upside down. Not you can't expect that to last forever. This is just a geopolitical reality as it pertains to the access. I mean, basically, the China corridor has become a political hotbed, and we're not getting the things we need for we counted on them for, and so that's changing the price of stuff. But again, people will always have an affinity for memories and old cars, and But if you're looking for a deal, this is probably not the best time in modern history to be buying an old car.
True. Well, Jeff,
That said, gentlemen, I actually have to split.
Yeah, no worries.
But thank you so much for your time and your invitation. And all
No
of you check out the
problem. Thank
website, and you all get a free membership to the New York Auto Museum when we open next year. Okay?
All right.
Sounds awesome.
Thanks
you.
so much, everybody. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks again.
And,
So,
and Jeff, maybe you have some thoughts on used cars since you work in that business all the time.
well, I have to tell you, Marco, I think you sold that Prelude way too cheap on Bring a Trailer. The retail world right now is so nuts that if you watch the dealer auctions, anything is bringing crazy money. Obviously, especially like old Buick Regals. They're now like huge money. Skylarks, man, you can probably get $100,000 for an old black Skylark now. I had to comment because Troy's got the picture of the background of his there. So, but no, it's true. There's not just it's not everything seems to be a classic. In the new car world right now, I hate to say this, you got a new Nissan Sentra. You could probably flip it after buying it for a profit. But most of our viewers are car dealers, and right now, new cars, I just said, are ridiculous money. If there's anything cool, like I said, your Ram TRX, they can just sit there and wait. They don't have to do anything. They just wait for somebody to pay the money. And I know we asked this question earlier, but Kathy, you see all these new cars. Pick one car you think is the nuttiest car for value and demand right now.
The nuttiest?
New car.
Yeah, but you're saying like ridiculously priced or
that people are dying to get their hands on, other than the Caddy Blackwing. We know that.
Oh my gosh, great question. So from a retail standpoint, I am finding people who normally their second car was a Porsche. Now they are looking at the Telluride and Palisades. Those SUVs are in demand. They're obviously, the dealers know that, so the prices, they can get almost whatever they want over MSRP for. So, and that's just, being in the community and knowing what people like. Now, I've been driving, the Lexus has been sending me a lot of their F Sports, the sedans, or and they're going for over $100,000. Yet there's a market for that. There's a demand for that. And I have a question for all of you. I don't know what housing is like in your area, but and sorry, Steve, but we have so many Californians moving into Arizona. Ridiculous. They're paying cash.
Sorry about that.
It's ridiculous. So my question is, should we invest in a classic car? Hillary would know this. Where would you invest your money? You can't flip a home, and now I think you could flip a car faster than you could a home. I'm curious. No offense, Steve. We like California, but
None taken.
you're killing us. Thank you. So, Jeff, I don't know if I answered your question with a question.
Correct.
Well, I think the question was for Hillary. What car would you invest in for a quick flip? If you're a classic car, what do you think, Hillary?
Back to what I had said earlier about maybe like an 84, 85 Chevy, like a truck that you can pick up pretty quick. Something you're not getting into really extensive restoration on. Like, start with that. Also, like G bodies, like the Montes, the Regals, like those seem to be really up and coming. Like my husband actually just picked up a super clean, I think it's an 82 Monte for about like $4,000, and it needs like a paint job, but it's really mint. And I've had people just coming by the shop, seeing it, asking if it's for sale, like because we're right beside a Napa parts store, so people are always coming over. So those seem really good. Like if I were to get into car flipping, I would start with something that took minimal upfront and minimal work to begin with, right? And then like roll that money back into it and start doing like bigger and bigger projects. I've had customers who have found like a 68 Mustang and they're like, wow, this is going to be a great flip, but I found the car for like $2,000. And then once we sandblast it and you uncover, like years and years of bad repair work, by the time you're all said and done, you've put a lot of money into that. I would start with something that doesn't necessarily need extensive restoration and, you know, build that. And yeah, I live in Toronto. I think the average price of a house here is like $1.2 million. So I could flip like 100 classic cars and just live in them because I can't afford a house.
You can sleep in a car. You can't drive a house.
Well, you know, Kathy, I have to tell you about the Phoenix thing because everybody I ever talk to says real estate is cheap in Phoenix, and where something's expensive for you, it's a bargain to somebody out of LA or San Francisco. It's like they can't believe it's that cheap. But final comments from our guests. We try to finish on the hour because everybody's busy. I will turn that to John, who's been sitting there quietly.
Well, thank you for having me on your show. I just want to make sure I let people know about the Cadillac V Club. Go to our website, CadillacVClub.com. Learn more about the club. We get involved in autocross, drag racing, road course, and just scenic drives. So no matter what type of V owner you are, V Series owner, if you just like to just drive on nice scenic roads, we have events for that. So we have sponsors that help us with a club. Obviously, you know, I'm a volunteer. I'm a retired car enthusiast who volunteers as a director of marketing. So we appreciate all our sponsors and partners, preferred partners. So we have all that information listed on our website. But again, and we you know what we're finding is that being part of the Cadillac V Club has helped our dealers, our local dealers. So they see the value in hey, maybe we should become a platinum sponsor of the Cadillac V Club. It'll help us sell more Cadillacs and more Vs. So Sewell Cadillac is our founding partner out of Texas. I mean, in case you didn't know, the Cadillac V Club started in Texas back in 2013. We have over 400 members today and expect by the end of the year to have close to 900 members in the V Club nationwide here in the US. So we've got chapters all over the US. Obviously, Texas, we have 4 chapters. We have a chapter in Seattle, a couple of chapters in California, of course, a Detroit chapter where our head office is. Again, all this information is on our website. And please feel free to check it out. And thank you for having me here today. Thank you.
Thank you. I have to say, after connecting with you, I'm going to watch for the next event when I can finally go there. I'm going to dig up a 1975 Cadillac DeVille with a 472. I'm going to put a big V on the side and show up.
As a matter of fact, if I can just add one thing,
yeah,
we have an event. We have an event here August 21st, Saturday morning, here in Redmond, Washington. It's at Exotics at Redmond Town Center. Cadillac Corporate is sending 2 Cadillac V Black Wings for that event, showcasing the Black Wings. And we're going to have as many of our V Series, V Club members, V Series owners parked all around those 2 cars. So feel free to come and check it out here if you can.
Details. We'll put that in our next communique.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Steve, parting comments?
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks guys for thank you so much for having me on the show. And I think it goes to show this, you know, the car community, the car market is hot. The enthusiasts are as strong as ever. And I hope that everybody that's listening will go check out our app Roadster. It's Roadster without the E. It's available on Google Play and Apple App Store. And you know, let's bring the community online and onto a modern platform. But thanks very much, and look forward to hopefully chatting with you guys more in the future.
Super. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Enjoy both Jeff and Ian. Thank you for inviting me again. I wish I knew more about the classic cars, but I learned a lot today. I appreciate it. And, you know, I love the auto industry, even auto dealers, believe it or not. So it's all good. Thank you for having me. It was interesting.
Thank you. Remember the saying, everything old is new again.
Yeah, except me. Okay.
No way. No way. Marco.
Well, hello. Thanks for having me, guys. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, this is awesome. I mean, it's I'm always surrounded by car people, but to have folks like you guys that are actually working on it, like Hillary. By the way, Hillary, I'm gonna tell my girlfriend about you, ladies, and I hope that she's gonna come by your shop. She drives a bright pink Mini Cooper, and she's raced Rally Monte Carlo, so she would love to get to know you. And yeah, and Steve, that app is sounds really interesting, and yeah, I can't wait to hook up with you guys on our social platforms.
Perfect. Marco, marry her. It ain't very often you're going to find a girl that's into cars like and can outdrive you. Whoa, am I in trouble with somebody? Hillary, now you don't like me, but parting comment?
Yes, Marco, definitely. You guys should come out and check out the shop. And she already sounds like she's going to be one of my best friends already. So that's awesome. And yeah, thank you guys so much. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed hearing different people's perspectives from different sides of the industry. That's always really interesting to me. And anyone is on Instagram, you can find my shop there, Ink and Iron Auto. I'm also on LinkedIn, Hillary Nowak. I would love to connect with you guys and just keep the conversation going. So I hope everyone has a fantastic day. And I'm going to get back to block sanding a 66 Cadillac.
Oh, there you go. Cool. I don't know if I've left anybody out, but thank you all for joining us. And please check us out. This will all be on podcast, on YouTube, on autohubshow.com. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. We're on who knows what. Ian, I'll leave it to you to close off.
Yep. Thanks very much. Great show, and it'll be live. I'll probably put it up tonight, so you'll see it on the website and everywhere where you can get that stuff by tomorrow. Thanks very much. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Bye.